Chapter 28 of Grief Opened the Door to Heaven by me, Kim Droptiny. Back on the road. Don't shine so that others can see you. Shine so that through you others can see him. Unknown. At the beginning of April, we packed up all our belongings and moved back into our little RV. Winter was over, and we were ready to hit the road and start evangelizing once again. Our first destination was southern Germany, where we stayed for a month with a pastor and his wife, helping in the church and doing street evangelism. Sometimes you think that you are on top of your grief and everything is well, and then something happens to trigger the pain. We were at a home group, and something was said that somehow triggered it for Tilo. Perhaps he had been strong for so long with Brianna and I, or perhaps it was because we were with a group of people that we felt safe with. But Tilo just started weeping. Then I started to cry, and Brianna did too. We cried and cried. For Tilo, it was the first time to really let all his emotions out. He had shed some tears in the past, but now he wailed as if his heart was broken. That home group allowed us to cry, and afterward gave us hugs and prayers. There was no judging or awkwardness, just love. The next Sunday was Easter, and Tilo led worship and preached the sermon. I sensed the presence of Gabe while we were worshiping. He seemed to just come to us, and it was so real that I almost felt as though I could see him and feel him. I actually reached over and took his invisible hand and held it. He told me that the Father had permitted him to be with Brianna and I on Easter. He was standing right between us, and I kept looking over at Brianna to see if she too noticed Gabe with us, but she hadn't. Gabe was smiling and full of joy. It was wonderful to have him with us. While Tilo was preaching, Gabe kept punching his fist in the air in joyous agreement. After serving in southern Germany, we drove back to Berlin to attend a small conference, and from there we intended to travel to Eastern Europe. The Lord, however, had other plans for us. At the end of the conference, a young lady approached Brianna and said, "Do you like ice hockey?" Puzzled, Brianna said, "I guess so. Why are you asking?" "Well, I'm from Belarus, and it is a close country, but next month they are hosting the World Ice Hockey Championships, and to get into the country, all you have to do is buy ice hockey tickets. I've been praying for people to go with me to evangelize. It could be an amazing opportunity." My daughter looked at her and said, "Do you know we are evangelists?" She replied, "No, I didn't. But when I was looking at you, I saw a sort of light over your head and felt the Lord tell me to talk to you." We were convinced it was from the Lord speaking to us. And the next month, we found ourselves driving our RV through the Belarusian border and moving quickly past the mini cars who did not have ice hockey tickets. The Lord opened doors for us all over Minsk through our new friend, Alexandrina, and we had amazing opportunities to share the love of Jesus. One day, just Brianna and I accompanied Alexandrina to a small town where we donated clothing and some other items to a woman's drug rehabilitation home. We were served coffee and then taken into a meeting room and told, "We've been waiting for you to come, and we are excited to hear what you have to share with us." My daughter and I looked at one another. We had no idea that we were expected to bring a message. At the same moment, Brianna was fighting back tears because the home brought back memories of visiting Gabe when he was at a Teen Challenge treatment center. Brianna's emotions overwhelmed her, and she whispered to me, "I don't think I can say anything." At that moment, All I could think of was getting my guitar and singing some of the songs I had written. It was quite embarrassing because I'm not a great singer. After a few songs, I just knew I had to share Gabe's story and how the Lord met me in grief. It was hard to speak of his seeming defeat with those women because I did not want them to get discouraged. Overall, the message was not about Gabe, but about Jesus and his mercy to accept Gabe into heaven. It was about the grace of God, which is bigger than our sin and literally covers our sin. Afterwards, Brianna and I felt led to pray for each woman. There were about 12 of them. And from the first woman that we laid hands on, we received accurate prophetic words. I would see a picture, and my daughter would begin to describe that same picture in detail. Or I would give a word, and Brianna would say, "The Lord just told me the same thing." The women were crying and receiving from the Holy Spirit, impacting words that changed things deep within, although we didn't know that at the time. When it was all over, the women went to their rooms for a while and then came back and said, "We have to tell what the Lord has done." And one by one, they shared how accurate the words were for them and how deeply they were touched. They said, "We are changed." With tears running down our faces, we saw how the Lord had used us, despite our pain and lack of preparation. We learned an invaluable lesson that day. It's not about relying on our own talents or gifting, but rather letting Jesus minister through us in our weakness. The Lord whispered to my heart, "Kim, none of your pain is wasted. I could use you here today because of everything you've been through." The joy that both my daughter and I felt afterwards was indescribable, not because of anything we had done, but the powerful way our God used us, broken vessels that we were, to bring hope and encouragement. That's the end of chapter 28, and not very many chapters left, and I hope to see you in the next one.